Greetings, Star Trek Fleet Commanders. I am the Angry Rhino. So, we're at that week that is in between the arcs. At least we're pretty sure it's only a 1 week break. We haven't gotten confirmation on that yet, or at least I haven't seen the announcement yet. But pretty sure that because of when Incursions that's coming up Monday again, because of the what time that is ending, pretty sure this coming Tuesday is going to be the start of the next arc. That being said, we're in this month. We have seen the schedule, which kudos to the people running this game. They've done a lot better at posting the schedule, especially during this week off in between arcs. One thing that seems to maybe becoming a staple in the week off time, hopefully it'll stay that way, is the Return of the Megacube event. Now, we have seen this event populate many times. Typically, it would come up when there's a 2 week break. But these past few times we've seen it come up, back-to-back months now, it's only been a 1 week break. So I'm hoping that it's going to become a regular thing in that week off. I do see value in this store. The events are fairly simple. Yes, they can be somewhat harder for some players than others. I don't think they're really that hard, and I really do think you should try to participate in some capacity here to get some points for this Borg store. I think there's a lot of good things in this store. Some things are shitty. And that's what I'm going to start with. I'm actually all the way at the end here. This is the kind of things that I say are shitty, and to a certain extent, I will say I think the artwork of these appetizers, I almost called them appetizers. Yeah, appetizers. Well, I guess, they're appetizers until you get into the real rewards. Maybe. Avatars. The artwork on the avatars, I think, is great. I think whoever designed these did a good job. Problem here, we'll just click on the Jayla one. 450,000 Borg War Funds. Now, maybe that's why they're so expensive, because somebody drew this, I guess, in its artwork, so it's more expensive. I guess now you can buy a pack in the store of Borg War Funds, 120,000 for $100. So this supposedly it's worth $400, almost $400. Not sure I agree with that one. There are different prices here. That's an epic one. This is also an epic one. So that the epic avatars. Why there's epic? Okay. However, you can see the rare avatar is 150,000. Still over 100,000 credits. And over $100. They look nice. I do wish I had more of them than I did, if I even have any, because they do look nice, but they're just way too expensive. So, as far as, let's say, an event reward, I think they're trash, even though I think the artwork is good. Let's get to some of these credits and tokens. Here, independent credits. Gotta love independent credits. You're limited to 10, so 5,000, which would be 188,000 Borg funds. Yeah, no. Some of these, I think, are left in here for people that want to spend all their extra currency at the end of this event store. Don't do that. This has been one of the only reoccurring event store credits. Actually, is it the only one? Maybe if you consider the Apex or Crucible War as also continuing event store credits, this would be the third one. This event has been around for a while, so these Borg War Funds have been around for at least 3 years. I think, pretty sure. Borg recruit tokens. I'll show you the recruit pack in a minute when I get to the end. It's an okay pack, but again, I don't think this is really worth your credits because there's something else that's really good further up. Even if you're at a low level and some of these rewards aren't available to you yet, save them. Save them. Because while these recruit tokens are nice, just they're sourcing for those officers. There is. Same thing here for the Ultra Recruit token. You can get this stuff in other places. There's a few other things that you really can't, except for this store, so you kind of want to use your currency for that. These old school Borg armadas are kind of obsolete. Now, if you are a lower level, I think you still have to do a few of these for the events. But at one time, they were giving 10 away each time this event ran. So, you shouldn't have to spend your currency, your event store currency on these directives. But if you feel like getting a few extra points, by all means, please do this. The event itself, these fancy Borg armadas, old Borg armadas, and then the Borg Mega Cube was a flop, really. The only way that this event store and this event really lasted was the event store and what has been put in the event store. It has gone through a few updates, few things have been added to it, and since it uses the same currency, you can kind of stack your stuff. Or not stack, hoard your rewards, I guess. Hoard your credits for a larger purchase. If that makes any sense. But there is an event for, doing a Borg cube. Doing a Borg Mega Cube. You do one Borg Mega Cube, you get more directives. So you can maybe buy a few of these sparingly throughout the months and help fuel that event. So you can do one Mega Cube every time and get some points for that in some of the events. But then it doesn't really cost you too much. All right, now you get to the officers. 10 of 11, he's a great officer if you are okay with mining. I think to a certain extent, most people have to be okay with mining. Otherwise, they're not going to get a lot of stuff. You're going to miss out on things. 10 of 11 is very good at that. Even though he is more universal, he still is a very good officer. He is an epic, so it does take a while to get him up there. But with the Borg spheres and the chest in the Borg spheres, I do say, and most of these officers, I'm going to say it with, I think there's good sourcing for these officers. Now, yes, you have to wait until high 30s or 40 until you can really hammer those Borg spheres out and get a lot of credits. Therefore, regularly pull those chests. But at certain times in your progression in this game, you do have to have a little patience. You would end up costing yourself for the right now, or what's the term? Mortgaging the future for the right now, or something like that. You will get these officers in the future. You will. So use currency like these Borg War Funds on something that isn't readily available. 9, 8 of 11, the same thing. They're the uncommons. They're not even that worth that much. 7 of 11, yes, if you are a lower level player, he can be a very good captain for your Borg grind. I do think New Pike and New Uhura, they're very good as well. So I'm not sure 7 of 11 is worth that much anymore. 6 of 11, He's in transporter patterns. And also, he's kind of less effective as he was with some of these new armadas. He still works. He's still a good officer. But seeing as how he has lots of other sourcing, transporter patterns, and the Borg spheres, not worth it. 5 of 11, it's tough. I know everybody likes 5 of 11, but again, maybe if you don't have her unlocked, maybe she's worth a few credits to unlock. 6,000 is kind of a lot for only one shard. I say she's not worth it, even though she is very good, just because it's kind of expensive. And I think you can really get her from other places. Even some of the ultra recruit polls, she's in there. She really is. 2 and 1 of 11, they're more mining officers. They're good mining officers, but their mining officers don't affect a whole lot. So they're not worth your credits here. Vidar blueprints. If you do not have a Vidar, yes, get this. How expensive? That's not terrible. Oh, for 5. For 5. Okay, so you can get for 38,000, which is kind of a lot. You could get half of a Vidar. I definitely think it's worth some of your currency. If you do not have a Vidar. Alright, let's go with more officers here. Get into some of the new Borg officers. Dazak, he's the one that, for the below deck ability, he puts assimilate on there. His officer ability is something. Excuse me. Oh. His officer ability is kind of dog shit. But his assimilate ability does work okay in PvP. But I mean, it's tough. If you're a huge PvP person and you really want this guy, then I say go for it. Otherwise, I say don't bother. Hugh, honestly, Hugh's the same way. I mean, if you really need him to unlock, which pre-level 40, I don't know that you really need Hugh that much. Pike Moreau Chen is still going to be your go-to. He's not going to add too much because Pike Moreau Chen is so good. So I do say, I do say wait until you can do your epic spheres and get Hugh that way. Plus there are a few events where you can get some Hugh shards. So unless it's taking you a long time, don't get Hugh. Though I would perfectly understand that some people are saying Hugh would be worth currency for an unlock. I can see that. Goza, he goes with Dazak, like you again, his officer ability isn't that good, and his below deck ability activates in PvP when Dazak had put assimilate on. So he works, he's good, he increases your mitigation, but you got to get assimilate. Borg Queen, she is the same thing. Her below deck ability is penetration, and she only works if Dazak had assimilate on. Which, it's nice and all, but it isn't that good. Galinar is a rare officer, so he can be kind of cheap. He actually is a very good officer. Especially if you're going to use 5 and you're going to grind, you put him with her and you can get more rep, which is a great thing. You always want to do that. Below deck ability increases the nanoprobes and the venom gained from killing the respective hostiles, which is good. But I've had, you can see where I got him. I've had him max for a while. The Borg spheres, at least in my experience, gave out enough rewards and I got him max pretty early. So you'll get there with him. You will get there with Galinar. And here's that Borg Recruit special. They should just call it Borg Recruit because there's nothing special about it. Dad joke, yes. I mean, it works and everything, and you get officers, but And yes, I skipped over the actual one that I thought was where the value is. Fleet Commander Locutus. At least for me, anyway, I'm getting really close to level 40 of the Command Center free to play, which means 2 slots for Fleet Commanders. Yes, I do have 2 Fleet Commanders. I have Kirk and Spock, but having a third one that may be more PvP related or hostile grind related, a little bit of both for Locutus. Yes, I would still have to swap them in and out, but where else is there sourcing for Locutus? This isn't like every other officer that I've mentioned in this video had sourcing other places. Where's his sourcing? It's nowhere. The pay store. If you want to buy him, you can go buy him. That's about it. You are limited to 30. Now, if you participate heavily, you can get 30 per run of this event, which means hopefully this event will run every month. So that would mean 5 months or 5 times this event runs. Less than half a year, you could get Locutus free to play. Now, Fleet Commanders have been out for, 10 months? So it's about time. But you can, hopefully you do have one Fleet Commander, or you have the building, and you can go and you can look at Locutus's skill tree and see for yourself. There's a lot of good things that he can add to your gameplay. So while every other officer has a source, he doesn't have a source yet except for this event store. So this is where I say you put all your credits. And because he is limited by 30, spend all your credits on him. Don't just spend, a few. I wouldn't even ever skip a month. If you have enough to get at least 1 or 2 pull or a few pulls, pull them all, because you never know where you're going to end up or where your alliance is going to end up with this reward or that reward. You could potentially end up with, depending on where you finish in the solo leaderboard, where your alliance finishes, I think you could get close to 70 or 80,000, which would be, if my math is correct, you need, I'm so terrible at math, 67,500 to get all 30 shards for Locutus each time. You would get a few extra. I would save them because you never know how you're going to do the next event. And it is, again, the only one that's really been around for 3 years and still uses the same event store currency, which just doesn't happen. And honestly, even the store really has been around for, the store's been around for like 3 years. It has gotten updated, but even like Apex, you can't even say Apex has been around that long because it really hasn't had a store that long. Though it does go in the Alliance store, so maybe. Oh, shit. Alright, well, that alarm is for something else, but that also means time to wrap the video up. While my alarm is sounding in the background. Very nice. Good job, Rhino. Way to drag this video out. Alright, let's summarize this real quick. What is the name of this dumb event? Return of the Mega Cube event. It is a very old event that has had a few updates over the past 3 years that it's been out. The event store has been updated a few times, definitely more recently with the addition of Locutus here. And right on the screen, this is, in my opinion, the main reason to compete in the event here. You want to compete in the leaderboards. You want to do all the milestones. You want as many of these Borg War Funds as you possibly can because you will want Locutus free to play. And as I mentioned, 3 years. That's how long the same currency has been around. So while it may be somewhat challenging and time-consuming event, I do think because this has been an event that has been around for so long, the same reusable currency has been around that long. Not new currencies every time. Same reusable currency. And the event store has gotten upgrades. I do feel we do need to reward the developers and the game runners, especially of this event, with participation. At least I do see people heavily participating as showing that we like the event and that being rewarding to the game company. I guess, maybe. Here you go. Locutus, Fleet Commander. Take a look at his tree. A lot of good things in there for you, and you're going to want to use your Borg War Funds on Locutus. Comment below. How do you really feel about some of the other officers? I mentioned some of the officers like Hugh or 5 of 11 in this event store. They're maybe worth an unlock of your Borg War Funds. Do you agree, or do you think you should save up all your Borg War Funds for the free Fleet Commander in 5 runs of this event? And do you have Fleet Commander Locutus? How do you like his effects? Do you think it's worth players that don't have him, like say me and other players out there, you think he is worth people going after Locutus? Be sure to like and subscribe. I am the Angry Rhino. Shields up, Commanders.